Howdy, everyone. I feel small again. Why does this keep changing? Whoop. Hey, how's it going? Hello. Everyone's doing all right. It's Thursday. You know what that means? It's time to talk. Hello. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to talk a lot to chat about the LGT. There will be a video next week about the actual games. It was more in depth, but you know, it was a good event, and I want to chat about it. Hello, everyone. Hey, Gary. How's the flight? Hope you're doing all right. Because yeah, hopping back and forth to GTs, that's good effort there. Yes, we'll probably talk about obviously the event itself, how I found it. We'll talk about how my games went. We'll talk about the fact that I am the meta. It's my meta and you're all living in it. And I'm clearly therefore the best player. And yeah, any other questions? So give people a moment to obviously, you know, get on into the stream. It's not quite 7 o'clock, and then we'll answer all your burning questions. Gave you courage to go to your first GT? Hell yeah. Time to ruin how far Paul got in the tournament. Yeah. Well, if you read my post on the YouTube, you know how I did. I did okay. Are you taking 1,000 suns to a GC? Probably not for a long time. I need to paint them. You know, 3 months to Centurion and then it'll die forever. Good. Because the problem is when Centurion's a meta, it gets my list nerfed. And then I carry on playing them and everyone else goes away. Fritters with 11 months. Paul's meta and we're all simply living in it. What's the speed of online swallow? I don't know, African European.
It's Paul's meta and we are all just simply living in it.
Thank you for the 11-month membership. So my least favourite piece in my Screaming Ravens? I don't think I have one, really. No, they're all cool. Paul is slightly below 50% win rate and stuff. I am slightly below. I'm very consistently getting about a 40% win rate, which I think is good. I'm not really getting smashed anymore, which is quite nice. Apart from one game. At the GT, that was my own fault. A little bit of dice, but to be honest, it was my own fault. And yeah, tournament's still fun. The LGT was insanely busy. But I was saying to people, because obviously you could think it's a lot of noise, but at a certain point, the level of noise doesn't really affect you. Like the people on the other side of the room, like once the din of the whole area gets to a certain point, it doesn't matter how much you scale it out. Because it's not like they made it denser. You see what I mean? I mean, they made it a little bit denser, but not massively. So the people right on the other side of the room are kind of being drowned out by the people close to me. So how did you do at the LGT? I went 2 wins and 3 losses. Which is actually not bad. And 2-3. Paul doesn't look like this at Mirror Life. I don't want to meet him. So what? Shout out to Scary. Scary took a photo with me and put it on his channel. And someone I think commented like, "This is exactly what I figured Paul would look like," which is good. I also, yeah, obviously, we'll say this later as well, but thank you for everyone who came up and said hello. There must have been between 40 and 50 people who came up and said hello to me, at least. Several people asked for a photo with me, which is crazy. One person asked for a signature. He asked me to sign his guard codex, so I drew an angry face on it. I met Scary. Pleasure to meet you as well, Scary. Hope you're doing. Hope Las Vegas is treating you well. And good luck there. You ever just want to add Invicta Warsuits to your army? Funny you should say that. Invicta Warsuit lover. I actually I do think 2 Invicta Warsuits with the Flamers is actually a really good idea in this attachment, because you can pick them both up for free and plonk them down. It's quite interesting. Yeah, LVO event tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. I guess you're taking the same list, right? I mean, you could try a different list, I suppose, but... Friend of mine met you, got a pick in your... And dude, your goof shit was amazing. Yeah. If you look at the War Games live stream, like, between the games, I'm on that quite a lot because you can tell by the bold guy with the bright yellow shirt, like, for the first game, before the first game starts on the stream, and it's, like, showing everyone setting up, you can see me setting up the table. My opponent comes over, I shake his hand, then Archie, the guard player I played against at Tabletop Types, he came over, you see that on stream. Muniz, Farrelly, thank you for subscribing. We're on Twitch. In fact, that photo you took, Scary, you can actually see on the stream between the games, you can actually see
Hello, Paul.
us taking the photo from behind.
Previously, SW are superior and you just proved me right. Take the L but FR. I am glad you had fun. Feel free to make fun of me.
Oh, sure. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, that advice was helpful. I almost won that game. It was that was the first game. It was very close. My opponent Ashley made an incredibly good play with Beyond the Fell-Handed that just shut me down, and I was like, that absolutely stopped, because I have now on a 10-game going second streak. I've gone at second in the past 10 games. So obviously, if you go second, you're round 5. You score primary at the end. And the way that my list works is it kind of sets up to have destroyed everything and then get those points at the end. But I ran out of fast stuff, but I had Shrike and Sharn ready to go. But he managed to run in, tank shot Sharn, and then as soon as I moved Shrike, he overwatched with the Flamer. I was like, man, you put him in such a horrible place, because I've run out of everything else. 9 months up, baby. Razil. You better help looking after... I don't know, that sounds like a you issue now.
Paul, our sub baby is born. You'd better help looking after it.
Thank you very much. To be fair, Polish Wolf, I have been coming off at one point, I was on a 13-game going first streak. So, you know, I hope you like... Oh, yes, thank you very much, Boots. I wore that for most of the third game. Until I realised as I was leaning over the table that it was starting to dangle and potentially hit my opponent's model, so I took it off then. But I've got it with me. Thank you very much. That was super cool. And I really like it. I'm going to probably wear it to other events, because it's just so cool. Yeah, someone... also, the Allspecs Tactics video where they went over the lists and why the Raven got this, it's just all me, which is very funny. But the thing is, like, I was looking at my list. It is very much my list. But obviously 9 Centurions, not 18. But 18 Centurions, actually, I do think works. And obviously, the video next week... I've actually got a video coming out tomorrow, hopefully. Because I was writing my script, and I was going through it. I was like, this entire section is going to take too long. I need to make its own separate video. So I've made a separate video, which I wasn't going to release a video this week. But I'm such a workaholic for you people that I separated it out. Going to Team GT Trouble. I'm doing my first team thing next year. I'm looking forward to team stuff. A hype train apparently just started over on my channel. I don't know why. A hype train usually arrives before the thing that causes the hype train, but we'll find out. You love Deadly Prize too much? Here's the thing. Obviously, Deadly Prize is fine, but I've got intercessors to do the sticky stuff. But the thing about the new one, I didn't actually use the fallback shoot and charge that much. I did a little bit, and it was useful. But the main thing was Ethan Sharn. He's insane. Sure, thank you for 7 months. Do you look like it all the time, or is that how they recognize you? I think it was a lot of it. People recognize me from just looking at my Centurions. I also have the objective
Free
markers.
super chat. SW are always the best. Wolf.
To be fair, the Space Wolves did seem quite fun. What armies did you face? I faced Space Wolves, which was the first time I played against Space Wolves. And then I faced Eldari, Sisters, which I think is like the second time I played against Sisters, Orcs, and then Black Templar, and that's the first time I played against Black Templar in a long, long time. I think it's the first time in 10th I played against them. So not any new, obviously 2 new kind of like sub factions in Space Wolves and Black Templar, but no new faction. I didn't play against Tau or Emperor's George or anything like that. Unfortunately did not get to play against Skari, although that would have been a very fast game. Unfortunately, both of my games before lunch went long, and lunch was a bit of a problem because there were so many people there. Sunday wasn't too bad. I managed to get food pretty quick, despite the fact it took a while. But Saturday was horrific. I ordered my food. They released the parents for the second game. I managed to get my stuff, go to the next table, apologize to my opponent, then go out and still wait for food. Yeah. I just feel like less than 100k subscribers and influence public opinion on single models substantially. It is funny. It is very funny. Yeah. The Black Templars ring Centurions, they had 3. And unfortunately, 3 is way less than 18. What I gave you, Dr. Star. Oh, thank you, yes, thank you very much. You were the absolute as the kids would say, Giga Chad, who took 3 Corn Lord of Skulls. Thank you for the ducks and dice as well. Space Wolves seemed cool. I do think Space Wolves seemed cool. But it's very funny as well, because obviously the person who came in the top 8 with the Raven Guard list with the Centurions is also called Paul. So people are like, oh my god, he did well. It's like, no, I did not do that well. Also, only 9 Centurions. AC Mills, congratulations. We're in order. Howdy, Soy Mate from the States. Hello from the UK.
Just proposed to my GF. Any wedding prep advice?
Don't take advice from me, because we took 16 years to get married. But good luck, congratulations. I mean, it's previous LGTs where the food and toilet situation was already a problem. The food was nice, at least. They had plenty of it. It's just obviously a lot of people. I did not use the toilet the whole time I was there, which isn't very healthy, I will say. But I have this. I do manage to do that when I go to events like this. I manage to just avoid using the toilet. My body just goes, no, wait until you're back at the hotel or back at home. Not very healthy, to be honest. Probably should have been drinking more water. Bardicle, thank you for subscribing, Prime. How do you feel about all these people who've always loved Centurions now they are meta have with Centurion love? I think it's one of those ones where when Centurions become meta, it makes sense why they're meta, and it's the reason they're meta is the reason I have been playing them, because obviously they were meta when Yuri or Ventress was around, right? Which could give them deep strike, but I was using without Ventress, and now people have realized where you don't need to deep strike them, you just bring them on at the edge and then shoot them from far away, and they realize that they're insanely powerful for their price. It probably means that it's going to get nerfed, and then people will go away back to whatever they were before, and I will have to try and live with those consequences. I think it's designed to grab much money for Apple. Yeah, I will say though, don't. Here's the thing: is obviously people talk about the wedding tax, right? Like if you go try and get photography, if you don't say it's for a wedding, if you say it's for a wedding for any of these things, they'll increase the price. There is a reason for that, and that is because a wedding is not exactly something you can cancel easily, and has to have you have to be on the top of your game. Let's say you hire a photographer, for example, and you don't say it's for a wedding. You just say, oh, we just want to have some nice photos taken. And they go, oh, I'm going to have to reschedule for a certain reason. Because you're only doing this thing, that should be fine. But then you go, oh, shit, it's our wedding, and now we have to get a new photographer. That's one of the reasons why this is more expensive. I will tell myself to jerky before I use public toilet. Yeah, it was always the fact that using public toilet. I did hear that the toilet situation was pretty gnarly, but I'm just able to just stop, just absorb. I just had a lot of fun. I came over near the end. Oh, hey, nice to meet you. I wouldn't recognize you for your name. There was less food stands than last year. Huh, that's interesting. There definitely were a lot of queues. I think you could definitely do better with the food, and especially where they are. I think you could have spread that out more because it was quite cramped out there. Not too bad though. You could definitely get through the crowd, which was fine. I had a few people come up to me. We'll see. Say hello, ask for photos. There were like three kids, like with their parents who knew who I was, and that was like, you guys are like barely. I don't know how old they would have been, like 10, between 10 and 12 or something. I was like, all right, like, fine. But everyone I met was lovely. Like every single person, I did not have any bad experience with anyone. All of my opponents were awesome. All of my opponents said all of their opponents are really cool as well. So like everyone, and I in the hotel, I did a really extroverted thing. I did a really mature thing. I went to the hotel obviously on my own, and I had my dinner on the Friday. And then some people came in and I overheard them talking about Warhammer. So I was like, these guys obviously are going to the LGT. I could just go to my hotel room and sit on my phone and do nothing, or I could just go over and be like, hey, sorry for eavesdropping. I overheard you talk about Warhammer. I'm also going, blah blah blah. And one of them asked me like what I'm playing. So I'm playing the Raven Guard. I've got 80 Centurions. Oh, your pawn is bad stuff. And it turns out they are was it Hobby Henchmen, which is a club right nearby. So met them. They were all super cool, and I'll definitely go and play some some of their events because it's not far from me. So that was really cool. Got to meet some awesome people there, which was awesome. Obviously, like I say, I met Scary, which is very nice. Ben from Grudge Hammer Wargaming, I only got to speak to him briefly like once, which is unfortunate. A couple of people are from the Winchester lot that were there. Obviously, Brett and Reese, who I've talked about before on the channel, they were there. They both went 4-1 because they're good. No, everyone was super, super lovely. There was a very funny bit, though. I think it was in my third game. My opponent who knew who I was. And the person on the table next to me knew who I was. And then the person next to me's opponent turned up and he went, oh, do you know Porter's Valor stuff? He went, no. And then they were just like, okay, fair enough. Is Gary convinced to continue Drukhari building? He didn't actually, but I do want to play the new Drukhari. I want to play the Witch Cult stuff because I love Hellions. And I do want to try them out. I just need to paint my list. Do you feel about all the GW files being leaked and people getting quote free Warhammer mods? I don't care. I don't even know if it it's not something I'm particularly bothered about. I'm not going to look into it. Who gets a very nerfed first Scary in his bomber report and Centurions? Well, I guess the Drukhari Codex coming out may have nerfed it already, so there you go. How do you feel about bread? I like bread. Bread's alright. Oh, it's not a new league, that's fair enough. This first time I got to see Centurions in person, both quickly seeing yours, which was great, but I had Ultraman's opponent, they look much less goofy on the table. They do look cool. That's the thing. They look really cool. I don't know why everyone's spamming bread. I don't quite get what that joke is, but okay.
Question for people in the UK. If you would pick any area of the UK to live in for the purpose of having good friendly 40k clubs, where do you choose?
I will say, my local clubs are both very friendly. So, Hampshire. And, yeah, the Hobby Henchman guys were cool. Obviously, Nottingham's probably a good place to go, because there's going to be a lot of clubs there. New Drukhari Codex looks complex as fuck. I think it looks really cool, though. When it was leaked, like, people were up in arms, but I looked at it and went, yeah, but hang on, you don't choose pain tokens at the start of the phase anymore. So you could very easily just shoot something, use a pain token, shoot something, kill it, get a pain token back, and then shoot something, use a pain token, get it back. Then shoot something, get a pain token, put you could cycle your pain tokens way easier. Videos on Doomsday Arcs are one of the few things able to one-shot Centurions. Doomsday Arcs are very scary. They are very, very scary. I didn't play against any I haven't played against Necrons in a long time, to be fair. And in fact, the last time I played against Necrons, well, I played against Necrons like twice in the past like couple of years. One was the 4 Catans, and one was Reese's horrific Silent King, Tesseract Vault, and Monolith list, which was horrible. You feel responsible for the upcoming Centurion meta? I don't think I'm responsible, but I do feel smug because I have been running this list for a long, long time. Is being bilingual common in the UK? Not at all. Apart from people who are like already have a language and like English is their second language probably. Like you do learn some languages at school, but it's not super common. I said Hampshire because my local clubs are very nice. Thoughts on the Gravis Captain? I like the Gravis Captain. I have one. It's very cool. Don't be known as Centurion guy? I do actually. I think it's very funny. I like being the known as Centurion guy. I've got short and stick first Codex edition. To be fair though, they are doing very well. There's some really cool stuff you can do with them. Sweet Silver.
Invicta Warsuit is just a bigger Centurion CMM.
The problem is it's thank you for super chat. Because obviously Centurions are armored with an armor. The problem is the Invicta Warsuit, the armor is too far away from the first armor. There's too much space. You need a bit more stuff between. You use English as the only language you know. I use English as the only language you know. We're not the same. That is basically true. Yeah, I haven't painted my Invicta Warsuits now. But the new detachment is insane. Proxying Saturn Terminators as Centurions, I will probably do that at some point, to be fair. It's not so much the detachment, but it's Athan Shan. Athan Shan did basically no damage the entire game. Because he whiffed a 4-inch charge in one game, and he whiffed all of his attacks against a single orc character, and then whiffed all his saves on the fight back. But him just sitting there doing nothing saves so many command points. Because if you think about it, I went second, right? So I can do 3 uppy downy at the end of my opponent's turn 1 and turn 2. So that's 2 command points saved already. And I'm not really spending them on anything else. So I would be basically up to 4 command points at the start of my turn 2, going second. And I've basically used 2 stratagems for free. It's insane how good he is. The reroll charge thing is absurd as well. Like, just being able to go, I'm going to be able to probably get something into that thing. I didn't get the +1 to wound. It would have been useful in some situations, but it wasn't game-changing. If I get +1 to wound, the list goes Super Saiyan. Because obviously, like, missing out on 2s to wound against tanks with the Centurions, not being able to get my, my kind of chaff little strength 4 things to wounding on 5s against big things, it was a bit of a problem in certain situations. But to be honest, the amount of stuff that the list gives you is so strong. But it only works with Shan. I think if you don't have Athan Shan, it doesn't work nearly as well. You need Athan Shan for it. If you don't have Athan Shan, you need the +1 to wound. I could see them going, if you include Shan, you don't get the +1 to wound. Because having both is insane. If you ever run 3 Invictus and 80 Trinones, I'll pay for the Invictus. I have 2 Invictus already. There was a moment after the tournament where I looked at my list and went, I could replace the 2 groups of Assault Intercessors with 2 Invicta Warsuits. I kind of think they would do the same thing. But I didn't do that. I did something else. Hamshammers is also quite nice. I've been there once, and I've played against a couple of people from there. They're pretty cool. Right, getting kicked off Chapter Master Insane. I mean, he gave it up, right? I don't think that's fine. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do the paperwork. We can talk about my games and how they went, kind of briefly. What's an eye hands? Eye hands are kind of cool. Yeah, I want to make some changes to my list, and I'm going to play those changes. There's a Winchester RTT in a couple of weeks. Yeah, like a week on Sunday. And is it true that you lose +1 to win out of the moment new detachment? My club play with +1 wound. If your club plays with a +1 to wound, then that's absolutely fine. So the reason, in fact, this is what the video is about tomorrow. It's about why this is a weird thing. But if your local cubby lets you use +1 to wound, you use +1 to wound. It's fine. Or use the 36 insurance 30 vets. If you could fit it in the list, that'd be great. What was my win rate? I went 2 wins, 3 losses. If you're confused, there was another Paul who got to a top 8 finish with Centurions, but he only had 9 of them. Because he's a coward. I'm sure he's a very nice person and, you know, very friendly and very good at the game. But he is a coward for not using Ace Centurions. Also, probably also, you know, wants to win the game. So, here's what it is. Meanwhile, I feel odd for just running Oops All Phobos in my Vanguard list. I mean, Oops All Phobos is pretty good. It would definitely work very well in the new one as well, because you get the advance and charge. So getting advance and charge with Strikes unit is really good. An all Dreadnought list sounds pretty cool. See the VT guys? I did. I said briefly said like waved and said hello to Ben Jones, but he was saying I meant to try and run into and catch up with Nathan, who was one of the people I played at the South Coast Major. I didn't unfortunately manage to catch up. Caught up with Adam Parmenter from Mind Goblins. Who? Oh, it was very funny. The people I met from the forgotten the name of the place. I said it earlier. The people I met in the hotel. One of them was saying, "Oh, I'm against World Eaters." A guy called Adam. I was like, "It's not Adam Parmenter, is it?" He went, "Yeah." It's like, "You're fucked." He's really good. And he went, "Oh no," and yeah, he was like, "Yeah, he destroyed me." But he's a nice guy. But managed to catch up with him, which is good. Many people don't agree with it. Yeah, that's the thing. I think people Invictor War suits I don't think people liked, but they are wrong. Invictor War suits are cool as hell. Think you should get a Warhound Titan? If you want one. Yeah, the list I took, I think I've basically worked out how it runs, and it's very weird. Essentially, the way I work is I basically just backfield everything. I put my 2 lots of 3 Devastating Insurance into reserves and a unit of my jump captain, and I started putting a unit of jump pack ancestors in there as well. And then turn 1, I just pick up the 6 Devastator Centurions. And so on my turn 2, I can drop 12 Devastator Centurions in certain angles, and if I just backfield everything, you can't get to me. And if you try and get to me, I will just drop things and get the angles, or people will go, "Oh, I don't want to do that." So they don't come out and play. So I go, okay, well, I'm going to backfield stuff anyway, and then have a load of angle shooting against you anyway. Pretty sure we'll be getting the +1 to wound. Would have helped against the battle wagon. It would have helped against the battle wagon. You are very, very right. It would have helped against the bloody -1 to wound strat as well. That absolutely destroyed me. But then my dice were just awful. I've made a couple of changes to the list. I've taken out the Hammer Captain because he doesn't quite do enough for his points. He is useful, but he doesn't... He's kind of a halfway house between doing actions and damage. It doesn't do enough damage, so I need something to just do actions. And I realize you can give that enhancement to a Phobos Lieutenant. And then the Phobos Lieutenant has Infiltrate, it has Deep Strike, Infiltrate, Scout, and then it will get Lone Up and Stealth. It'll just have all of the keywords. And then you can just use that to do what the other guy was doing, because he also has move, shoot, move, so he can move just as fast. With the saved points, I can change my 10 jump back intercessors into Vanguard vets with Inferno pistols, because I need a bit more fast punch and rapid ingress threat, which the jump back intercessors don't give. Even though jump back intercessors are OC2, I was never really in a situation where that OC mattered, apart from the very last game. And even then, if I had them being more deadly, it probably wouldn't have mattered. And then the other thing I want to try is putting the 2 lots of 3 Assault Centurions into one big block, all with Flamers, and just having a massive Overwatch threat, in the middle of the board. That's a bit tough to get through, because I felt like the 2 lots of 3 didn't do enough. They didn't really do a whole lot. Was it on GT the narrative event? No, it was a competitive event. What do you think of the idea of Centurion characters? I like the idea, but I feel like if you give the kind of buffs a captain or lieutenant gives to a unit, it would make them way too strong. But also, it would be a very expensive unit, right? If you had to add like another 100 and something points of a character. But having lethal hits on 6 Devastating Centurions, like if it was a foe, like let's say if it was a Centurion Lieutenant, right? And they give lethal hits normally. Lieutenants give lethal hits. Imagine lethal hits on a Centurion with all of those missiles. It's insane. Yeah, incursors would be good. I can't afford incursors in the list, unfortunately. Would you want to use a jump captain or jump chaplain in the vets with stealth load up? If it's got the stealth load up, I use it on its own. The other thing is if you can get one with... Because the one trick I didn't use, which I think is one of the more OP things, is the enhancement that allows you to rapid ingress turn 1. I don't have that, and I don't have room for it. You do these on Deathwatch, to be honest, just a command point. Yeah, but I have to play Deathwatch. In my opening, having to bring 2 collect and clean ones with 4 squads of play. I have seen someone take 3 great and clean ones and Rotigas in a list, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Grab Centurions or grab weapons? The thing with the grab weapons, also, they're very good against vehicles, but then you go against something like Tyranids, and you go, oh, you're all monsters. Well, when last cannons just do the same thing. Played against Steve recently since a lot of times. I haven't played against Steve in a while, but he's been very busy. So I do want to play against him again soon. I did play Shatterpoint against him, though, and that is a very fun thing. Yeah, that is one of the strongest things, but I don't have... The problem is, the way I would get access to that is removing Centurions, which is not happening. So, yeah. Like, apart from... I think there was only one game where I did really badly and lost because I did badly. I think my other 4 games were all very close and competitive. One, which was my 4th game against Orcs, was so annoying because I thought I'd pulled an absolute blinder. Because he didn't Wartle turn 3 because I'd stayed so far back and caused so much like stress and he didn't want to go straight in because he didn't think he could reach enough stuff, so he was like just trying to stage, and I thought I'd pulled an absolute blinder. I got so many angles with my 12 Centurions. It was linchpin, and I was on his home objective at the end of my turn 2, and I killed all his grots. I was like, oh man, this has gone really well. And then the dice just said no. Just no. My Centurions didn't do any damage to anything, and then I just could not make a single save, and the War 5-up Invun absolutely popped off. We were both like, this is the weirdest game we've ever played, because yeah, War turn 3, and I was like getting these weird angles on his backline turn 2. Hoping he might have to turn around, but he did have some Storm Boys, which he used very well. And yeah, it was just like, the dice just said no, and we both agreed that I don't think I did anything wrong in that game. I think I had the right plan. But yeah, it's a dice game, right? Because it was basically the exact same plan I used in Game 3 and Game 5. And I won both of those games. Best game of the tournament, yeah. Yeah, it was a fun game, though. You're right. It was the fact that your Gaz unit killed 3 Intercessors and 5 JPIs. That's all they killed. And but the rest of your army on that war turn took out so much, and then in my fight back, I just did nothing. And then I was like, oh, Sean could take out that one character I need to get, like, assassinate. Oh, he didn't do it. Oh, I'm, hitting on 2s, re-rolling, wounding on 2s against, with my Hammer Captain. Roll 3 1s for wounding, Ever played against Grey Knights? I've played against Grey Knights, yes. A friend of mine plays Grey Knights. It's been a little while since I have played against Grey Knights, but they are quite cool. You didn't use the official report about it sometimes. Yeah, that war boss was... I mean, I hope you give that war boss and that, what was it? Was it Commando that was in the bottom there? In that bottom rune? You need to give them their, give them their trophies, because they did very, very well. And, yeah. That's going to be fun to go through in the video. My first game was very close. Like I said, it was I basically had got rid of pretty much all of his stuff, like all of his big scary units, but he had just got a bit too much ball control, and I was like, I could get this back in turn 5 at the end, try and flip it, but I'd lost all of my jump package testers, so I was only down to Shrike and Shan, and he killed Shan on his turn 5, which meant I lost access to the free uppy downy, which would have helped, and then he overwatched with the flamer, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to risk the overwatch flamer just to get onto that objective because it was terraform. I just need to stop a terraform. Stewie Knight, thank you for subscribing with Prime. I just need to stop a terraform, and he managed to get it, which was unfortunate. Also, price increases. Yeah, it happens. See the price of bread and houses lately? I mean, Jesus Christ, the whole world is fucked in it. Yeah, it was a nasty one. But it was a very good play, because he kind of left Bjorn didn't do a whole lot in terms of damage, obviously gets him command points. But he pulled him out. Like, he basically got me in a position where I couldn't do anything against him because like, he'd set other things up. And then when he actually brought him out, he was just in the perfect position. He tank shocked Shard and then just flamed Shrike. I was like, you got me there. I don't think, even if he hadn't killed both of them, I don't think I was in a position to get enough points back anyway. Because Terraform, he had just stacked too many points. I wasn't aggressive enough in trying to turn off his Terraforms. Did I sit down? I did, actually. I sat down quite a bit, which is good. I was watching YouTube, I remember how Prime. Thank you very much. The price increase? No, this was the one they announced ages ago. Again, I'm in a fairly privileged position where I have money. I have the money to spend, and also I'm in the UK where it is a lot cheaper. What do you think the idea of cross-suits being comparative to Centurions? I have a video on that. Broadsides are probably the more of the Centurion-like in the Tau, in relation to Tau. And I like broadsides, so. That was game 1, which, again, the guy I played against, actually very, very nice guy. Super, super awesome looking army. Which is great. Ready against new Black Templar book? I did it land a GT, so we'll do this right. Alright. Thanks, Brutus. The second game was against Eldari, and I just messed that game up. My dice weren't great in terms of saves, but the dice didn't matter that game. I learnt from that game that infiltrating my Blade Guard with Justicia too far forward is a bad idea. Against this, because basically he managed to like zoom. He was so fast. He zoomed up, got his Dark Reapers out, which I didn't respect. Destroyed me because I barely rolled any saves. So I think even if I rolled averagely, I probably would have been massively cut down. So I couldn't slow him down up there, and then he just ran me over very, very quickly. Can you viciously insult you? Okay, you nincompoop. Then what else? That was game 2. But again, my opponent, Antonio, very, very nice person. Game 3 was against Christina and her sisters. That was a fun game. It was. We basically rotated our position and then just charged at each other. The Morven Val managed to save 6 las cannon shots, all 4-up saves, but then lost a Paragon Warsuit, maybe 2 Paragon Warsuits in the in Overwatch, which is very funny.
Is it possible to do an all-tanks guard army at 500, 100 points and not make the opponent feel bad? Would it be fun to play with Slash against it? In
the low point games, probably not. The reason is, right, if you're in a low point game, so how much is Lehman Rust? Like average 150, let's say, so you can get maybe 2 into a 500 point game. The issue is, if your opponent does not have anti-tank, well, here's one issue. You probably won't have that many things to score points, but that's by the by. It skews very hard, because if your opponent does have anti-tank, then they just cannot deal with the tanks. If they have anti-tank, you just die. Like, let's say you can play against me and I'm in a 1,000-point list with... Let's say it's the one I played with... I gave to Christian von Carmen, right? Where it's got 9 Centurions in it. You play tanks into that, you try and bring your tanks out, I could just destroy them, right? But on the flip side, obviously, if you destroy the Centurions, I can do nothing to your tanks. but then I could kill it. It's one of those ones where I think if you're playing against someone you don't know, like you're doing a tournament, it's one of those things where it's like probably not the best thing to do. But if you're playing against someone you know, and that's the expectation, it's probably fine. Yeah, that was game 2. Game 3, yeah, that one went well. I managed to win that one. Basically, I think she made a mistake when she fell back some, because the list had like 30 sacristans in it, which are very scary. She fell them back behind a ruin, and even though I couldn't really kill them, I could just keep them behind there because I had my blade guard around there, so you couldn't charge them because I get fights first. So I kind of just kept them out the way and then could just take the middle. But again, the MVP of the tournament was the Centurions, 100%. Centurions and Shan, they were insane. I like strong theme armies. This is the thing with 500,000 point armies. That's the problem. Is it skews too weird. Because I thought you were a cool guy who didn't meta chase, but now that's your detachment with Centurions and meta. I have to unsubscribe. That's fair. You know what? I can see your point. However, I'm using 8 Centurions. If I cut myself down to 9 Centurions now, that would be meta chasing. What army do I like playing against the most? I don't really have an army I like playing against the most. It's mostly about the opponent more than the army. Yeah, game 4 was Orcs. We talked a bit about that. That was the one where the dice just went no. Because I was like, I've kept you from like doing your go turn for so long, and I'm going to be able to take out so many of your scoring things here, and then it just didn't take off. And I was like, I'm in your backline. You have to turn around, but that didn't work either. It just all fell apart. The battle wagon in the top ruin, I shouldn't have charged. I did make the mistake of charging that with my Vanguard vets. But I failed a 5-inch rerollable charge to get into it. It's ridiculous. What else? What else happened? Because the plan was basically I would charge with the Assault Centurions to blow it up, and then wrap it with the Blade Guard, so he'd have to Desperate Escape, and it didn't work. Game 5 was against Black Templar, against Roman. And he, very nice guy. He had 3 Centurions, which he dropped down, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be really nasty. I'm going to Overwatch, and killed one. And then killed the rest. I don't think the Centurions really did much, but he had to bring them on. Again, I think what I basically did was play back. He, similar to, I think, like to Brandon's Orcs, and in fact, maybe even the Christina's sisters. Basically, they played far back, like worried that if they came forward, they wouldn't be able to kill enough, and I'd be able to drop my Centurions down, which is exactly my plan. Like he had a squad with a character in an impulsor for the entire game, and they only came out in turn 5 and did literally nothing. Because and when he did his, because he was playing Black Tempest in Gladius, he did his advance and charge once per game, the advance and charge, and only really did it with 1 unit in the end, which you know, he could have done with a stratagem instead. And because I knew to that, I kind of was able to then just pick my shots and then slowly get back. Again, the problem I have with the list, with my strategy, is that my opponents are still scoring quite high, and I'm not beating them by much, and I'm also not scoring nowhere near 100. So it's like just eking out victories because I'm stalling the game to try and get my jump pack units to do stuff. And even then, I had to be very, very careful because I couldn't quite kill one of his, his final Repulsion Executioner before I had to move. So there was a little bit trickiness there. And his the Emperor's Champion is amazing. He basically just ran out the board and went, "All right, Sean, dead." Killed him instantly, and I couldn't quite get him back. He only had 1 health left at the end, and I was like, at the end of the game, I was like, "Nah, don't really need to worry at this point." That was a good game. At one point, there's a couple of bits in that which would be good to show about like how to play properly, like with intent, and how to be a good opponent from both of us really. There was one, like, he was very much like, you know, making sure I was aware of his Overwatch threats, and you know, the fact that his Repulsion Executioners in the Black Templar get good rerolls if they're close. And there was a point where he was like, I want to just like, I'm basically gonna suicide an impulsor to try and get some on my primary. And and he kind of went, oh, I need to move my repulsion executioner out of the way to get this out. And I basically went, you probably should be more like, I basically said, I know you would just move that out of the way to get your impulsor out, but where you've put it is directly in line where I could put some Centurions down and kill it. So you may want to bring it back. Like you can definitely, there is definitely a way for you to be able to move it out of the way of your impulsor without also being in line of sight. So just fix that. And I think there was one point where he had some scouts, and I was like, you should probably put your scouts here, because if you don't put your scouts here, I'm going to put 6 Centurions here, kill your repulsion executioner and the unit inside that room. And he went, oh yeah, I should probably do that. It's one of those ones where, because obviously the game's on a timer, they're probably going to see it eventually, and they know what you can do, but also they're trying to think of their own thing. So if you could, this is why I say it's a co-op game. For me, I don't want to win the game by not saying that, wait for him to do something and going, okay, well now I'm just going to wipe a huge amount of your army off and then you can do nothing. Like, I want to be able to win the game. I still won that game because I feel like I was able to play my game properly and being able to like help him make sure that I couldn't get an easy victory, if you see what I mean. That's why I think it's being more co-op. Hey Reese, yeah, thank you very much. And you're 4-1, almost a disaster for you going 5-0 and not having to go home. But yeah, you did very, very well. But Rooter hasn't really cut down on the viewbot issue. Doesn't feel like there's 250 people here watching. I mean, I don't know. It seems about average for when I do these kind of streams. If you're a viewbot, please let me know in the comments. Are you a viewbot, the rookie 6666? Who knows? Great email. I was the one who recognised the game match before. Oh yeah. Well, as next at LGT, it should be 11th. How you feel possible new rules? I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what 11th brings. That'll be really cool. That was very funny. A couple of people did do that where they saw my. I think most people when they see them go, "Oh, you're that guy," but Weaver was like, "Oh, those are Paul's objective markers." I went, "Yeah." And he went, "That's you, isn't it?" And I went, "Yeah," which is very funny. But nice meeting you. And viewbot, I view the botting. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest. Someone asked about losing. How do you get used to losing your guys? I always feel sad when I get losing my guys to the table. Then again, I name my squad so they aren't nameless to me. It's not. I don't think it's even about that, to be honest. It's not really about whether they're named or not. Like, obviously that will be a thing, but maybe you're going into it with a different mindset. When I lose stuff off the board, I'm thinking about it tactically. So I'm going, okay, he's killed that thing. Like, what could I have done differently? You know, it's a learning thing, right? But then on the other side, and it's just you just gotta kind of treat the games as learning. If you end up getting like upset that you lose stuff off the board, you're not going to learn anything. You're just going to get mad, and the only thing you're going to learn is, oh, when I lose, I get sad. When what you need to think about, even if they're named, like think about them if they're named. Like, this squad has been defeated, they've been rallied. What are they going to do? Are they going to try and learn from that and try and fix what they're going to do next time? You know. That's from Deathwatch. I don't know Deathwatch. I know somebody does. Christian Montgomery. You should go see what he says about Deathwatch. I went to Age of Sigmar. I have got Age of Sigmar. I need to play some. Hopefully before 5th edition. I have Gloomspite Gits mostly, and I've got a few other little bits here and there. Starting with Rain Guard, Greynuts, any tips for a beginner? There's a couple of people asking for beginner. Just get started and just have fun. Like, you don't need to really worry. If you're just starting out, you don't need to worry about like how to like tips like that. You just need to get games in and start learning the game, because it's such a big, complex game. Find a good opponent. That's the main thing. Find a good opponent that's going to help teach you. And a good opponent. And I think someone was saying, I was speaking to someone about this, who was saying like their first game they played, they lost. They won because their opponent basically played the game for them. But the person who was playing, the person who was the expert helping the new person was like, if I just beat you, you're not going to learn anything. So if I teach you like the the way I would do it. You're going to see how the game runs, and then slowly you could take the training wheels off. Hey, Christina. Yeah, you did that too, yeah. Things most important character, a lot of these players don't think of actual strategy of the game. They're worried about new rules and units. That's the thing, exactly. You need to learn the rules and units first. I will say as well, and I'm going to bring this up in tomorrow's video, go and watch the final of the LGT. Because that is such a good game. There is one point, it's about 9 hours into the War Games live stream. Like 9 hours and 5 minutes. I'll link it in tomorrow's video. Where the way... So playing by intent is probably something you may have heard of. So playing by intent is essentially you say, I want to put my stuff here so it can't be seen. Is that possible? And you both work out if that's possible. You go, okay, we've worked it out. It is possible. So whatever, you know, if something else happens, like, we know that's where that is. So in this game, the eventual winner, Liam, puts down, I think probably from reserves. I think it's from reserves. He puts down a Predator, I think it is, some sort of tank. And he goes, oh, by the way, I can actually see those Scourges. Like, we agreed that the intent was those Scourges wouldn't be seen if I brought things down in this area, because that's the only real, like, sightline. But I can actually see them. And rather than going, oh, well, I can shoot you, he went, obviously, not on his turn, he went, move your Scourges around until it fits. And let him sort his Scourges out, and he went, yep, there you go, now I can't see them. That's how intent works, and that's how I basically play most games. That's how most people play games with me. And I don't think this is one thing where people obviously talk about intent, but they don't really know how it's done. And that was such a perfect representation of playing by intent that I think it should be required viewing. It really should be, because it literally is the exact, like, one player said, I want to hide my Scourges here. This is the sightline I'm trying to avoid. The other guy went, okay, this is where I can go down. Oh, by the way, it looks like we may have made a mistake, but clearly what you intended to do is definitely possible. You just need to reshift things a little bit. Perfect. That's how you should be playing games. You're prepared to lose things and expect to lose certain things if the value you get from those things you lose. Yeah. It's about trading, right? That's one thing where some people will go, like the, obviously it didn't work out in the end, but like I managed to get that gas bomb, which is worth 300, 400 points, or whatever, with all the trimmings, and it killed 150 points worth of stuff. That's the trade. Like, I've lost 2 units, but it's put him in a bad position. We're loving assault citrus, advanced shoot charge. Yeah, advanced charge with the assault citrus is good. This is why assault citrus aren't very good in my list, but I think I have a way of making them better. Last game I won against Ward Eaters, but lost 3/4 of my army. I think that I underestimate 8 and overestimated 20 members. Well, this is the thing, right? So, yeah, you won and you lost a lot of your army, but you've learned that now, right? I mean, it might take you a couple of tries to learn it. And I think the reason I think people... I think if you feel bad about losing games, I think it's possibly, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's because you're not playing enough games. And to be fair, and I'm not saying go play more games, because obviously scheduling, all that stuff, maybe you can't play that many games. But as I've been going to more and more tournaments, I've been less and less concerned about, like, because I know I'm going to be playing more and more games, I'm more inclined to try and take the lessons from my defeats. If I was playing a game every, like, 2 months and I was losing every game, so it's like, oh, every 2 months I get to lose a game because I'm not learning fast enough. I'm not learning enough. I think it's one of those ones where the more you play, the more regularly you play, the more you get used to losing and learning, and then you start winning. I also want to know that many people came up and said, hello. Actually, wins went 4-1 myself. Oh, congratulations. Nearly won best of 5. Oh, nice. Is there a different Xenos army you collect besides Rukari? No, not at the moment. No? No, not at the moment. I think I actually won again outside of me playing Combat Troll to learn 10th, because I'm getting back into the hobby after skipping half day and all of 9th. Yeah, this is the thing, like, it'll take you a while to start, like, winning games, and I think playing against someone who's going to help you do that is good. I wait every point I score as 10 points worth of lost models. If I lose 30 points models to score VP, worth. That makes sense. There definitely is that. I definitely feel like I need to get those calculations better in my head. There have been times where I throw away jump pack intercessors to get a bunch of points, and it's like that was a worth thing to do for the points. But then losing that ability later on is tricky. And I think that's why I kind of want to give my 10 jump pack intercessors into Vanguard vets to make them more of a threat, so I can save having to use my jump pack intercessors for later. When I'm running 36 Centurions, I was looking at 36 Centurions, and I think it's not the worst thing in the world if you use Gladius. It doesn't work in Vanguard Spearhead or Shadowmark Talon because you don't have enough points for good characters. I think Gladius is probably the only detachment that it'll really work with. So I might try it at some point. I just heard horror stories that some people just straight up hate them. What's that about? Raven Guard of Tau. Oh yeah, people hate Tau is kind of a meme. I mean, the thing is, the people who hate Tau are Knights players. Oh man, one of the Hobby Henchman guys. I felt bad for him. He played into Tau. He's a Knights player. He only has 5 ping Knights. He played into Tau, got stomped. His next game, he was like, "Oh, it's not Tau. I should be doing all right." His opponent didn't show up, so he had to get rematched, and he got rematched into Tau. I think he did win, but it was he was saying like his heart dropped. I was like, "Oh man, that's very unfortunate." But again, it's not so much about the opponent you play; it's about the player. I'm going to say for watching Portland and don't play 40k. There are people, like, you play AOS, there are people who don't play anything. Like, people who go, I don't know what this is all about. Strong theme, good kits aren't nightmare. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's the triangle, but you have to pick 2. Definitely don't play enough. I'm pretty even right now. My local community, I've just been taking time to paint more. Yeah, that's the thing, like, when you start going to events where you're playing 3 games a day, 5 games over 2 days, like relatively regularly, you start to kind of pick up that vibe, right? I was thinking a failing point for a lot of people is they change their lists a lot. It takes a good 5-10 games to understand the strengths limitation. Yeah, so I have been... Put it this way. Since the South Coast Youth Major, which was in March, so March, April, May, June, July, August, September, we're in October now, so 6-7 months. I've been basically running 18 Centurions for 6 to 7 months across multiple events and pickup games and, bits and bobs in between. Slowly changing my list over time, slowly finding out what works, and in the past, 2 events, I've changed very little. Because you've got to really get an understanding for what works and what doesn't, like Reese says. And especially if, you have to be quite strict with it where you go, this didn't work, but you got to really think, why didn't this, unit work? Oh, is it because you played against certain opponents where it really didn't shine? That kind of thing. But if I go to Space Marine Centurion on TCS for practice and run shrunken down Leviathan Generals, that's very funny. When I'm in tournament, my local meta is dominated by tournament bros. They're surprisingly flexible playing not tournament stuff. Yeah, this is the thing. Tournament, all the tournament people, including again, go watch the final of the London GT and see how the tournament, the proper tournament players play. Tournament players want to play the game, but the people who want to stomp aren't just want to stomp and just want to play meta and whatever. It's not a 40k problem. It's just they're an arsehole, right? They're not there to... They don't know anything about themselves. Making such a different... I've enjoyed a crushing loss to a good opponent more than winning against someone who wasn't fun around. Exactly, right? My game against Antonio, I lost. It was 50 to 100. He destroyed me. But it was a good game because he was a really nice person and we had a good time and, I don't mind it. And I saw the mistakes I made. I was like, fine. How do you denote which company your models are with, and how do you denote sergeants from regular bros? The Screaming Ravens, the way they work is that they don't do that specifically to confuse people. All of their markings are different. For the actual on the board to denote sergeants, it's usually the ones with the special heads, or the weapons you get for sergeants. But color scheme wise, it is purely scattershot. And that's kind of the plan. It's meant to be the black armor with splashes of color. do you think using Seattle and Leviathan Dreadnoughts as Centurions? I think it's very funny. I think you should continue to do so. Or use like Storm Vermin or something. That'd be funny. Something should also vehicles, also bikes. I can't see the forest for trees. Thing is, a lot like oops, all tanks in 2,000 points is kind of balanced. This is like knights, right? Like knights are one of those lists that when you... This is the other thing, right? If you're making a list for a one-on-one game, obviously, you know, you don't know what you're going to go up against. So I try and make my list kind of take all comers. Like, you know, we'll go to tournaments and try and fight everything. Have a fairly balanced list. But obviously, if I'm only playing against... It was difficult when playing against Steve because I'm only playing against knights. But I'm like, I've got to practice my list. It's going to go against other things, but I couldn't get a feel for some of the stuff that would do well into infantry because I was playing against a lot of knights. That's that's not Steve's fault. Obviously, he was playing knight. No, when we practiced with like the Templar Tactics place, he was playing knights, so he had to practice. Yeah. I had trouble breaking that habit of sticking with consistent lists for a single army. I just love playing whatever seemed cool and never won. Yeah, that's the thing. Is you've got to. The reason I like playing the Screaming Ravens is because it's like my thing. Like I've said it a lot. The 18 Centurions is like a puzzle box of trying to like if stuff gets nerfed and it changes the amount of points, that's just a new puzzle for me. I'm not going to change that. I had a brief moment of weakness where I thought about taking out the 6 Assault Centurions. One of my solutions was to make 18, just have 18 Devastating Centurions, just 3 sorts of 6. My other one was to use Invincible War Suits, but I do think having a block of 6 Assault Centurions is really good for me. I can just like have them as a annoying blocker and something that will force my opponents to move and deal with them into positions where I can deal with them with my dropping down Centurions. Because with having a block of 6 and 2 blocks of 3 in the sky, you cannot hide. Because even if you're fast and you try and screen a lot of the board, it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go at the back of the board because that's where I'm good. It didn't work against Eldari because I didn't have my my blocking units, the things that kind of slow you down. So my Blade Guard died, which meant I just, even when I was able to bring my Centurions on, he was so fast jumping back into his wave surface that I couldn't do anything. Best type of loss is one where you have immediately realized I should have done that, and it felt, yeah. I've definitely had like, in fact, one of the ones that I even do in the video, the game against Christian Volcamium, where because I was like, haha, funny, I should charge the Centurions. Watching it back, I went, why the hell did I just not charge the Captain and the Intercessors? I would have taken out 2 massively key units, and his Centurions would barely be able to get to me. And even if they do and kill them, I can bring them back anyway. But that was kind of just, that was a silly game. But that's exactly the thing, right? Where that loss was like, you know, lesson learned, right? Lovely to have a Centurion carry so Centurions can check. Yeah, if infiltrating Assault Centurions would be very silly. Or giving them Deep Strike again, but I mean, this is the other thing. Like, look at the list that won on the GT. It's like it's an insane list. It's just a scattershot of Chaos Space Marines, but he knows how to use them. So I think you can do anything. Here's why I miss running more normal list. My community disagrees with me running 20 Hell Blasters to Apothecary. This is exactly the thing. I think anyone can do well. Like I talk about this a lot, where if you gave me, let's say it was me and Skari, and we swapped lists. And he's got this, you know, incredible Drukhari list that, you know, does really well. I give him my 80 Centurion lists. Who's going to win that game? Skari. Because he's a better player. Because he also knows how to defeat himself, right? He's just played a lot more, and he's got so many different... He's just got a different grasp of the game and fundamentals that it doesn't matter what list I give him, and it doesn't matter what list you give me, he's probably going to win. So, and the other thing you'll remember is if you go into like a local GT, it doesn't have to be the London GT, but a smaller GT like the Winchester GTs I go to, you're going to get very good players there. But if you've practiced the same kick 1,000 times, you're going to do a whole lot better against a lot of people. Meta right now is less about what you're running and more about how well you can use what you have. Exactly, right? Like, there are some, strong things, but a good player will be able to play around it. And you can't... Like, with my Centurions, right? I feel like I've got a good grasp of how my list works. Nick Fury, thank you for becoming a member. I have a good grasp of how my list works. And I have a good grasp of how it kind of plays. And people who are around my skill level, the kind of people I'll be meeting at events, aren't used to it. And so I can do better against them because I've got a lot of practice with my list. Obviously, if they got practice with their list, that's fine. But because my list is kind of a weird skew, so if you can invent some weird skew that catches people off guard, you can make up a little bit of that skill gap. But at some point, you're just going to have to be a good player. And being a good player, like looking at what they do, like looking at the London GT final, I was like, okay, that's a bit out of my reach. Because they think about everything. It's insane. Like, bought the Centurions out of my Raven Guard force I just made. I'm going to use them as minor tools for evil. Nice. Last game against Tyrannos was me. This other was a unit that did nothing, so I spent 2 turns on both of them, and instead of units that were surely good. Yeah, that's the thing. Getting tunnel visioned. I think that was my problem in the first game against Space Wolves, actually, where I didn't so much tunnel vision. I think I made the right call mostly, but I think I went a bit too wide. I should have really, and this is what I did for the rest of them. I basically go, because the way you basically have like the natural expansion, right? The objective marker that is the next best thing for you to go to. You have each player has one, and then there's one in the middle. I, to start with, tried to like bother my opponent at their one, but for the games that I won, I just went, nah, I don't care. Go for it. Put some stuff on there. I'm going to park my entire army near my expansion. I'm going to have my Blade Guard infiltrating just a bit forward so they can get there and start blocking. And then move my stuff that way. Have my Centurions come out, and it's going to have my entire army in one corner. And if you want to come out and deal with them, I'm going to have like 3 different angles I can kill you with Centurions. And that's how my list works now. I think the foreseeable future is I'm going to try and learn Drukhari. Drukhari is one that is very, very difficult to play because they are so squishy. But the amount of cool combos in there are insane. The Witch Cult one looks amazing. I so want to try it. Because you can have like disembark 6 inches from a transport, throw, advance and charge them, jump back into something, make it so they can't be overwatched, charge out of phase. Mad. Let's see how they do against 36 Infernus Marine attacks. But here's the thing. You got to get in range for those Infernus Marines. I'm the opposite. My opponent's face is when 9 OC of race was set on their expansion. That's the thing, right? Like, I feel like if I just like turtle up there and you bring, I feel like I've got enough stuff that could probably take it out. In fact, I've played against them and I almost killed a full block of Centurion of race with Centurions. It's an interesting one, right? Like, the thing is, I think my plan works, and it will work until I realize that someone who's good at the game will look at the way I'm playing and just go, oh. What are your thoughts on me buying £500 worth of Centurions? I've asked you 3 times. I didn't see the other 2 because chat moves. 500 points worth of Centurions is like 30 Centurions. Well, 500 quid of Centurions is 30 Centurions. Do it. That's why there's 2 bricks. There you go. Do Black Vets naturally have infiltrators? No, that is an enhancement. I don't remember what it is called. I think it's the Blackwing Shroud. I call it the Blade Driven Deep because it's a cooler name. That's what it used to be called in Vanguard Spearhead. I can't remember what it's called in Shadowmark Talon. Do you see the recent Allspecs video on what people are running? Yes, I did. I left a comment, I believe. See, I feel like 240 Guardsmen. Pretty well. Because of 63 blast missiles that are strength on AP 2-3 damage. So, yeah, I could basically delete a squad of guardsmen every turn. And also, they guard them to death. Or jump back and test them to death. Did you play into Aldarius Hall? Yes, I got smashed. I didn't because as well he didn't have Fugan, which I know is kind of like the this is the other thing, right? Is you look at it and go, oh, he doesn't have Fugan, he has a 5 fire dragons. That's not very meta. No, he clearly knows what he's doing with those Dark Reapers because he just destroyed me. Basically, they came with the Wave Serpent, jumped out, killed something, jumped back into the Wave Serpent, and I just could not get the angles on the Wave Serpent. And then he was just so quick. Dice weren't helping, but they weren't really the end all and be all. I just lost too much too quickly. But like I say, fun game, and definitely a learning experience. I think when last time I played against Aldari, it was against Martin. I think it was the one where I went 3-2 at the Winchester GC, and I think because he played a little bit slower, I forgot how fast Eldari are. And yeah, it's the blade driven. It's called the blade driven deep in Vanguard Spearhead, but I was using the Shadow Mark Talon, and I believe they call it the Blackwing Shroud. I did also play on the table next to the guy who brought a Thunderhawk, which was great. Out of 5 LGT games, only 1 Wraithbrick died. Jesus. I would be interested in seeing how I would do against that now. But I feel like I say, because I know that you can jail me very quickly. But I feel like having all the stuff I have now, it might be a bit better. Hello from Africa. Hello from the UK. I'm trying to learn how to play 4K, still have no idea what I'm doing. But I love building and playing. Hell yeah. Flying gunships are the Centurions of the Sky. There was someone after the first game, I went to get my stuff to move over to my second table, and there was a guy with a Storm Raven there, which is cool as hell. Yeah, the Thunderhawk was amazing. The game I saw he was playing against was against Tau, and I don't think that game lasted very long. I think they were finished by like an hour. But I think we were just about to get to our 3rd round, and it was the game against Orcs. It was the game against Orcs that I was next to, that we were next to the Thunderhawk guy. Rounds 1, like turns 1 and 2 against Brandon and his Orcs lasted half an hour, and then round 3 on its own lasted like an hour and a half. Just because there was so much going on in turn 3. That's when he warred, and he had to really think about what he needed to do, and he then did it. Yeah. If you kill even 2 squads of squads, that's still 10 squads of guards and grabbing points. By the end of the game, you have killed 10 squads, and I have 2 full squads left over for guards. Yeah, but also I could also jump around and do stuff, right? Like, the thing with the guards, right? I don't think you could do enough to kill the Centurions. And then once I'm in melee, you're in a bit of a pickle. Because also, bear in mind, I can, like, just jump on you early and then stop you moving out. I don't know. It might be interesting. I mean, the chances are you'll probably get clocked out because you have to move 240 guardsmen, but we'll see. No, thank you. Thank you for Zoom chat. Thunderhawks do seem fun.
Nerd.
I had an idea for a list as well, which was get 6 drop pods. Fill them with just intercessors or something. And just start dropping them. Basically, if you go first, just make a big line of drop pods that your opponent can't walk through. The Blood Angels might be the poster boys for 11th edition. That sounds cool. That sounds like it'd be fun. I'd be happy if they got Sanguinary Guard now. I'd be happy to turn them into something. Because you could do you could turn Sanguinary Guard into because I've heard Vanguard veterans might be being redone. I don't know. I have a Tau army with AX Tiger, AX Tiger Shark, Storm Sturge. It's 900 odd points with Shadow Sun as the commander. I don't know what an AX-10 Tiger Shark is, so let me find out what that is, and then I'll tell you how I deal with you. Storm Surges I know are very deadly, but I think I could probably take a Storm Surge out pretty quick. We'll have a look at them. Like Storm Surge, AX Tiger Shark. Yeah, Storm Surge, 2 up, 4 up, 20 wounds, T11, so I'll be wounding on 3s. If I get the +1 to wound, I'm wounding on 2s. Obviously, it's the invulnerable save that's the nasty part, but I think you can take that out pretty quick. You obviously have long range. But you have to come out and deal with that. Like, you have to do something about that. What is the AX10 or AX10? I think it's what it's actually pronounced. Want to learn how hard it's beginning to learn how to play Deathgree. The exact same number as it is to learn any army, realistically. If you're a beginner of the game, you know what? Play Krieg, because you'll learn the game. You need to learn the game first. The All of Us is a war all time. I'm never getting a Titan. I went to the Titan owner clubs and they are cool, but no. What is a? So you have an AX10 Tiger Shark and a Storm Surge with Shadow Sun as a commander. A Tiger Shark is only like 310. Storm Surge, that's 700 points. What are the rest of the points? Is it just like loads of those? Jevis, twin heavy railgun. 12 damage on that railgun. Jesus Christ. Strength 26 AP5. Anti-Titanic. But the thing is, you have anti-Titanic. Twin heavy rail cannon. Yeah, that is a you kill Titans. I don't have Titans. It can be equipped with 6 Seeker missiles. And 2 burst cannons can be replaced with 2 Iron Cyclone. They're 18-inch range. The flyer, right? Yeah. So you fly in. If you're close, the thing is, if you have to get closer for all like the Cyclone Ion stuff, you can kill like one thing with the twin heavy rail cannon. And I just shoot it out the sky. It's the 3 or 5 up, in fact, so it's even worse. Storm Surge might be a little trickier. But again, it's a Titan killer against Titanic. I have no Titanic. But it has a lot more longer range, so I don't know. What are your favourite armies to verse, which you find most difficult? I don't have a favourite armies to verse. It's again about the player. Most difficult, though, it's definitely anything that is very quick. Aldari, World Eaters, they are probably my worst matchups. Or anything with a lot of, like, Dark Angels is actually quite a tricky matchup for me if it's very heavy Deathwing Knights. I think... But the thing is, like, the kind of... With the Dark Angel stuff, right? Like, I played against 2 Dark Angel lists. You know, one guy had a lot with Deathwing Knights and just saved a lot more 3-ups than the other. And also, he went on to win the event, right? I saw him actually at the LGT at a low swim, which is cool. Blood Angels actually... I think I've turned around on Blood Angels now. I haven't played against your Blood Angel in a while. But I played against Blood Angels in the Sluggers. And I won that game. So, Blood Angels I'm not too worried about anymore. But again, I think that there's certain matchups that I think are basically just going to be player-based, right? But there are certain matchups where, like, I think World Eaters is going to be a very tricky one for me. Only when they trap you in your deployments. Like, exactly. Which I don't let you do anymore, because I've got a lot more things to stop that. I actually have Infiltrate, which is very useful. I have a lot of Infiltrate. In fact, my new list has 3 Infiltrators, which is very useful. I also do want to get... I want to do... because I looked at the thing. If you put a Terminator, the new Terminator captain on like a tactical rock, he's about the same size as the Saturnine character. So if I don't use the shoulders on the Saturnine character, I could have a I kind of want to do 10 Assault Terminators with Hammer and Shield with a captain and give them either Infiltrate or the Turn 1 Rapid Ingress, which would be ridiculous. Flight Special Infiltrate is very annoying, yeah. Because I think when I played against you, I only had 3 Blade Guard. I might even have had Blade Guard in that list. No, I don't think I had Blade Guard in that list. I then changed to 3 Blade Guard. They weren't enough. 6 Blade Guard, I think, is insane. To just Blade Guard infiltrating and just putting them like near my expansion and just be going, if you want to come and take this, you're welcome to. But if you want to charge anything, I'll either heroically intervene, or if you want to charge this, I will kill you. Part of me thinks maybe a Blade Guard Ancient in there would be good, just to give myself even more OC. I don't know. Are you going to do a Paul Fest? I don't think so. If you were to move from Centurions, what would you get and why? I don't know, actually. I have been thinking about this, because obviously, if the rumors of them going to Legends are true, I will have to pivot. I don't know. Maybe it will be a lot of Terminators. Same as Logan, Saturn Predator is nearly the same as him in height. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you'd have to put that one. You'd have to put him on like an 80 mil base, wouldn't you? 6 Nurgling squads straight across the midboard. I don't even think that's the thing, because the problem with that is, okay, you've blocked off a bunch of the board, but Nurglings can't do actions. They can't move through. They can't move through walls. I found out. Matt, if you're out there, cheeky git. Apparently they're swarms, so they can't go through walls. Didn't know that. It didn't matter anyway. We all made mistakes. Then, yeah, you've got a bunch of stuff there, and then I'll just go. Nurglings are funny though. Why do people hate fighting the small knight list? By the way, I thought being weaker they would not be too hard to shoot with most weapons. The problem is a lot of small knights. You still need to put anti-tank into them, and they are quite scary, and they can flood the board pretty well. I don't think it's that bad, to be fair. If you got any mini 40k, what would your dream mini be? Have you content much? Oh, thank you very much. I definitely I would like a Centurion character, or Centurion jump intercessors or something, or jump Centurions. Someone messaged me. I can't remember who it was. I apologize. In one of the books, I think it's like the Brutal Cunning book. There is mention of a Centurion jump pack, and I think an Orc takes it, and that's like the only one. So it would be funny to make a Centurion character who finds that Orc and takes it back. You go pure witch cult Drukhari. I mean, that, to be fair, I do like the list I was thinking about for the new Drukhari case is like 10-5-5 Hellions, 2 lots of 3 Reavers, a big squad of witches with a succubus because I don't have Lilith, Cabalite, Incubi, and Archon, and then obviously some transports, Mandrake Scourges, yada yada yada. Bring a 55 Marine Templar list to Winch RT next week. Hell yeah. I'll die before I submit to Gladius Templars. Hell yeah. I think my list is about that many as well. And people recognize me because of my army. I think, obviously, some people obviously would be able to find me on the app and find out what table I'm at. I think a few people did look and go, oh, that's 18 Centurions. I found you. I had about 50 people come up to me and say hello, which is really cool. In little grab vehicles of Primus or Deep Strike, they can be pushed out of the back of Thunderhawk transporters right onto the enemy's head. That would be funny. I'd like to do that. Localization damage for things like knights makes it hard to totally kill a knight, but these will slow it down. I think it just becomes a bit too complicated for a single army. I don't mind the way they've done it. I think what they need to do, though, is they need to make damage more modular. That is the big problem. Because what's the difference between a knight on 1 wound and a knight on 0 wounds? They're like +1 to hit. Or -1. I guess they have -1 to hit. That's not that's a huge difference. If it was more modular like it used to be in 9th, that might be a way to balance it, where a 1 wound knight is significantly weakened. Because this is the problem, right? A knight that is on 6 wounds versus a knight that is on 0 wounds is massively different. And it's not many wounds to get through, but if you don't get those 6 wounds, suddenly they have an entire turn with an extra knight. Variable force complete now. I just gotta wait for some heads and jump packs to arrive. Hell yeah. Base coat them, put them in the cabinet of shame. And then they're finished. Once they're base coated in the cabinet of shame, that's it. It's done. Centurions with dump pack, they finally get an 8-inch move. I will say, every time I advance a Centurion and they roll a 6, I'm like, oh my god, they move 10 inches. This is the fastest. They're so quick. or when they roll like an 11 to charge. I think I rolled a 9-inch charge against my last opponent's Repulsion Executioner. I think I took it down to 4 wounds and 1 melee. So I did obviously with reroll. It was Oath of Moment, so with rerolls, hit and wound. I think I hit him. I got 2 1s, but also 3 6s. So that was another 6 dice in the pool. Silent King's degrading his number of attacks half. That should be the same for knights. Yeah, that I think is the thing. I think it should just be more than just less objective control and -1 to hit. There needs to be a lot more, because the other problem with the -1 to hit is if you have any other sources of that, they become useless. Like if you're in combat and you're using big guns never tire, being degraded means nothing because you still have the -1 to hit and you can't have -2 to hit. So they need to have more thresholds. I don't think you don't need to be like aiming for the legs or the guns or whatever, but they do need to degrade differently. I think that is the problem. Yeah, it needs to be something different. They need to be able to differentiate it. Because that is the problem. A knight on 1 wound is just as scary, but a knight on 0 wounds is dead. So they need to make it so a knight on 1 wound. They need to make it so the damage you do to a knight matters, because realistically, the only damage that matters is the last one. So what's a knight got? 26 wounds now. The first 25 wounds you put into a knight does not matter. It's only that last one. And if you fail to do that last one, you're screwed. What does charging better? Charge phase is after command phase before movement. Charge distance is base movement plus 2 d6 block lowest with modifiers. I think, to be fair, the thing with Old World and Age of Sigmar and stuff is it is a very different game, because obviously there's less shooting. I think the charge phase is fine. I think out of all the problems that 10th might have, charge phase is not one of them. You can't shoot and charge in the same turn. That is the thing, right? Losing the ability to shoot and charge is massively different from 40k to Old World. Like Age of Sigmar has a 3-inch engagement range, right? That would be massively different for 40k. I'm directional armor for good to balance things like knights. I know it would be, but I don't. I feel like having to worry about the direction of tanks doesn't work in the current way the game is played. I think it would be too, and because you've got to be like, oh, but I can kind of see the side. Does it count as the side or the back? I don't mind the way they're doing it now, where whichever side you shoot, it's fine. But they do need to do something about that. Guardian should be the same with AOS, where you can roll and select 2-inch engagement rate would fix a lot of issues. 2-inch engagement rate would fix a lot of issues, especially with buildings. So with Age of Sigmar, because charging getting to melee is so much more important, because most armies are melee armies, I do wonder about charging. I like the fact you have to declare your charge targets, because it does allow you to take some risks if you want to do a double charge. I think they should get rid of the if you can get to base you have to, because that does screw you over for longer charges where you have to do that horrible thing where it's like, oh, I'll put the back one in first so it blocks this guy and I don't think that should be a thing. That's annoying. I think that should be if you can get into engagement range. Makes sense to use 7 fast. It also really incentivizes ruin hopping to charge at people. But I think the thing is, here's one thing I've never understood. Where people go, oh, 40k right now is too deadly. If you stand out in the open, you just die. Well, yeah, if you stand out in the open against fucking 6 blocker las cannons, yeah, you're dead. The ruins are there to stop that. But I like the way the staging and that kind of stuff works. I think that is a good way of allowing the melee armies in, because at the moment I think melee versus ranged armies, I think it's fairly balanced. I mean, I do. This is the other thing as well. Like AOS, I would like to play more AOS, because then. But the problem is, if you start making games too similar, there's no point in me going to play AOS because it's not a different enough game, right? I like glancing and penetrating hit mechanics and stuff like losing a weapon, getting immobilized, etc. They are fun mechanics, to be fair. I like the idea of them, but I also think the fact that you can you got to get a game in, and I like the pace that a game happens now because of those things not being there. You don't have to worry about them. But I could see them adding stuff like certain maybe keywords. So you have like lethal hits and stuff. Maybe you have like a and you have like you can slow people down by two inches. Maybe there are going to be things like if you hit, you can change them, you can modify their stats. That's quite fun. I'd like to see more movementy stuff, like on like moving your opponents. But again, I said this with Bricky on our little podcasty thing. They are fun mechanics, but also they do cause a lot of problems. I just agree melee armies smash people into the dirt. I may be biased because my last game I had 30 possessed using my units. So there you go. Bear in mind, last time I played against Possessed, I killed they smashed into one unit and I killed the shit out of them. So, and I played against, I mean, Space Wolves, Orcs. I mean, it was a Sacrosanct heavy Sisters and the Temper were all fast melee armies, and I defeated 2 of them. And I almost defeated the other 2. Because you can't, like, and I'm a kind of mixed shooting melee army. Does have suppression need to give -1 to hit or decrease movement? There are some that do decrease movement. Decreased movement, though, is a pain. Especially Spearhead. I would agree with you on Spearhead. Spearhead makes Combat Patrol look like shit. Spearhead is fantastic. But again, I think Combat Patrol walked so the Spearhead could run. I don't think Combat Patrol is simplified enough for new players. It doesn't remove enough, while Spearhead basically cuts half of the fucking book out. And that's a lot better. Like, I need to play more AOS, but I do think it's good. I like the niche fight phase plays, adds more levels to it, but I can see how it's a big barrier to entry new players. Yeah, the fight phase, yeah, I don't mind the fight phase. Martyrs of 10 death coming did 2 damage of Wraithwick, 2 damage, not 2 dead. Jesus Christ. Was that just a lot of 4-ups? Because yeah, I did hit Morven Varl and 3 Paragon War Suits with 6 las cannons, and none of them went through. On average, that kills the bodyguard, right? Nasty. Combat Patrol 11th will hopefully learn from Spearhead. That is the thing, right? I think that's how it works. Like, Combat Patrol came out and they were like, we want to have, you can buy a box and then play like a mini game type. And it didn't really go the whole way. Spearhead comes out and adds the card system and makes it a bit more dynamic. I reckon that Combat Patrol in 11th is going to be more that way. And I think if they put effort into doing that, and then put stuff in, like, then they make Combat Patrol have a lot more of the interesting stuff that, like the twist deck from the Spearhead stuff. Like, stuff like, like twists and the catch-up, the challenger cards, would work in Combat Patrol. Hello, Eugen the Sprite Dragon. Have a, if you already have -1 to hit, give -1 to wound type roll. That could work as well, I suppose. How long left? I don't know. How many people lost Centurions? How dare you? I won against Centurions. How dare you very much? You know, that is the only time I've played against Centurions. I've only ever played against them that one time. And I beat them. And I felt bad about it because I literally killed one before he got to use them. He dropped them down. I was like, Overwatch, killed it. I killed one of his Project Executioners. I think I did. Oh no, the worst one I did. The Triumph of St. Catherine is the weirdest model in the game. It's like the stat line on that thing. I thought Centurions had a weird ass stat line. When Christina explained it to me, I was like, I'm sorry? I thought I misheard her. Triumph of St. Catherine. 6-inch move. It's a 3-up, 4-up. 18 wounds. Toughness 3. It has 18. It didn't even get into melee. I didn't even see the melee profile. 18 attacks in melee. Hitting on 2s, strength 5, AV2 minus AV2 1 damage. It's infantry. It has like 6 abilities. It's a weird profile. It's wacky. And as Morvaval made a bunch of saves, unfortunately the Triumph of St. Catherine did not. I think I did 31 wounds to it. It was something absurd. I think I almost like double killed it with the Centurion. It's a very cool model though. That was a very fun list to play against. Sacristants are funky. Like 3 big blocks of those, they're not even that many points. They're -1 to wound. They put out a decent amount of damage as well. It's just because it's a bunch of girls walking along, so they just have their individual stats added together. It's wild, but it's super cool. It's really funny. I think it's one of the coolest profiles. I will say, one of the weirdest profiles actually coming out is the fucking Drukhari Raider. The Drukhari Raider has 4 abilities. Do you want to make a model space for Seth Shaft like Cacaridans, Sun Medusa, Lamentus, etc.? Which Seth Shaft would you like to see the most? Screaming Ravens, obviously. I don't know, actually. I don't know enough about the other like chapters, to be honest. I mean, I think a lot of people would like to see Tyberos. That's a good one. Gabriel Seth getting a new model from the Blood Terrors, Flesh Terrors, not Blood Terrors. Blood Terrors, by the way, good name if you want to use that for your thing. Yeah, I don't really know. Don't really know enough. Plasma or Melter? I prefer Melter. I think Melter is cooler. I think it'd be, you know how on other minis, but other armies where sometimes they'll put a dead Space Marine on there, they should always paint them as Lamenters. That'd be very funny. Is there an army you see on the table and just sight? No. Every time I see an army on the table, I go, hey, hell yeah, that's a cool army. I've not ever been like, oh, I've got to play this again. Like, I have done, but in jest. Like, when I went Dark Angels into Dark Angels, or World Eaters into World Eaters, that was just like, oh no, but I've never been like, oh no. There's a model of a captain falling over the sword. Go through. Ever seen a converted army you would not play? No. I've not really ever seen anything that I've gone, I wouldn't play against that. I kind of wanted to play against the three Lawless Girls guy. One, he was very nice and gave me some stuff, but 2, very silly army list. I don't know how well he did, to be fair. You may have told me, I apologize, I forgot. Yeah, honestly, like, again, so some people will kind of be like, oh, I don't want to play against this or whatever, but I've never really had that problem because I'm like, if you're a nice enough opponent, I don't care. Like, Connor, the Dark Angels player who beat me like 100 to 25, the game lasted like an hour. You know, he just absolutely trounced me, but he was super nice, and we had a really nice chat afterwards. Everyone I've ever spoken to, I think he was the first one I really spoke to about the team events. All of the guys from the, I keep forgetting their name. I say it and then I forget it. The guys from the Portsmouth guys. Like, I keep forgetting it and then I'll just say it. But those guys as well, they're all like, oh man, team events are where it's at. So I am looking forward to the team event in next year. The Chaos Knight Babies? I'd love to play against the Chaos Knight Babies. Just because it's the coolest, they're the coolest models I've ever seen. You play season at the start of 10th, there was some sign when I got my army out. Well, that's good issue. Hobby Henchman, thank you. I said Hobby Henchman, and then I forgot them, and then later on the stream, I just said it without remembering, and then I forgot it again. Yeah. There's a Hobby Henchman event in November, I think, that I might try and get to. Yeah, they're all super nice lads. One of them, what was his name? George? He was playing Imperial Agents. He had 880 points worth of characters. I have no idea how that list runs. It was absurd. Like, I was looking at this and like, you are a maniac. I do not know what this means. Over a second for Elizabeth? Ah, fair enough. Yeah, I think I might have been too late to get involved. I like the idea of putting a shitload of big section bricks up on the table. There'll be visually very cool shields up. I will say, seems to do pretty well. Yeah, Christina's just had just 3 big blocks of them. I think they all have hospital women. I actually don't know. I know at least 2 of them did. Maybe all 3 of them did. Yeah, I think they all had hospitaliers in there. And also when they're elected by character, they get -1 to be wounded. Yeah, they get come back to life, feel no pain, -1 to be wounded. They are tough to break through. Good lord, and they do a lot of damage. Honestly, Ivy, that is a core of a list that you could build around and probably do quite well. Yeah, like you have that with Pennant, Engines, Modifiers, and Repentia. That's a list. That's a list and a half. Did I play 1K, and if so, what do you think? I played 1K. There's a video from last week. I don't mind 1K. I think 1K is pretty cool. I would say it was quicker, but we played on Tabletop Simulator, and therefore it was a bit slower. Tabletop Simulator, but 1K is pretty fun. I know there's some Speedhammer events, but unfortunately, every time the guy who does the Speedhammer events does Speedhammer events, I'm away. Everything about face revealing? Well, if you go to Archon Scari's channel, my face is on there. Also, people tell you about face reveal. I can think of 4 videos with my faces in them. It's not hard to find. One of my emotes has my face in it. It's not quite kind of the side of my face. But if you know where that video is, if you know where that emote is from, you can find it. I can think of it definitely 3, possibly 4 videos that my face is in. I'm not a hard person to find. And if you really want to see my face, go to the War Games Live coverage of London GT, and I'm constantly like on screen. I'm very easy to spot in day 1. I'm wearing the big bright yellow goofy shirt. And if you're wondering what I look like, I'm a bald bearded man. I don't the thing is, like, I'm not hiding my face for, anonymity reasons, right? I'm doing it because I started off with the doodles as a way of kind of just having a way to transition between parts of videos. And then it kind of stuck, and it's part of the gimmick now, right? I feel like if I did my videos or did my streams with just my face, it wouldn't be as funny. So, I'm not that secretive about it. But obviously, anyone who's met me knows what I look like now. What's 50% played over? It was very funny meeting the hobby henchman guys, and like 3 of them are bald bearded guys. Like, if you look at my doodle, imagine what that would look like as a real person. I look like that. Yeah. Scary took a photo with me. Scari's lovely, by the way. He gave me like a bunch of dice and a sticker. I put the sticker on my my dice box I take to a tournament. Absolute gentleman. And I hope he does well at LVO. I'll try and check out some how he's going. But for now, I think that is going to be enough chatter. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to send you over to our normal Liam Dempsey raid. He's expecting you, so please be respectful. Had a good time. Tomorrow there should be a video. Not a very long video. And then next week should be the London GT video. But thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good rest of your day, evening, or morning, or whatever you are. And I will see you next time.